US College Sports Camp Asia is a program which offers an opportunities to families whose children possess sports talent to showcase their potential to seize educational opportunity in the United States, where their sports abilities will be enhanced, as well as opening up their educational horizon. The founder of US College Sports Camp Asia is Mr. Thanakon Duangmani, the former Thailand national tennis. With joint support of Mr. Santi Ph.D. from Boon Road Brewery Company Limited, through Singh Corporation Company Limited, and Mr. Langsali Laksitanon, President of Thailand Golf Association. To promote the program by bringing coaches from universities in the United States to organize and scout talents in Asia. Since 2013, US College Sports Camp Asia has partnered with more than 100 universities and high schools in the United States, who offer numerous opportunities to Asian youths with sports talents. The annual average number of Asian youths receiving sports scholarship is 20. Since the beginning of the camp in 2013, we started with only 2 sports and only in Thailand. However, at present, US College Sports Camp Asia organize camp and select youth athletes from 10 Asian countries, such as the Philippines, India, Singapore, Vietnam, Laos, Indonesia, Hong Kong, Dubai, etc. We also include 7 types of sports, namely tennis, golf, soccer, volleyball, basketball, badminton, and swimming. We are planning to expand to provide an opportunity: 1. More countries such as Japan, Taiwan, Korea, China. 2. More sports to include gymnastics, track and field, bowling, and field hockey. 3. More level, not only at college level, but also for elementary, high school, and professional level. 4. More scholarship opportunity in art, such as music, acting, and theatre. For each of our US college sports camp that we organize, youths will not only be selected to receive scholarship to continue their study in the United States, but children and youths aged between 8 and 18 will receive specialized skill training and development from coaches from the United States. Asian youths will have an opportunity to enhance their sporting skills by training correctly and laying the foundation for sports from early on to inspire dreams of becoming a professional athlete in the future. US College Sports Camp Asia is not only organize a camp in Asia, we are also organize a trip which give Asian youths an opportunity to tour the United States. It's a short-term tour or tryout trip between 10 days to 3 months. This trip will provide an opportunity for youth to train, learn, or even experience a real classroom studying in the United States. It's an eye-opener, fun field trip for youth between aged 8 to 18 years. The pride of US College Sports Camp Asia is being part of giving these young people an opportunity to develop their sports skills and step into the path of professional athletes in order to build a reputation for the nation in the future. Come and join the youth dream with us. US College Sports Camp Asia. Increase educational opportunities, creating athletes to international level.
Hello, good morning, everybody, and welcome everyone to US College Sport Camp webinar. My name is George Duamani. I'm the co-founder of the US College Sport Camp, but today I'm speaking to you as a guest of US College Sport Camp because we also have a partner unit with advisory unit. So it's just about myself, and if anybody haven't attended our webinar before, we are one of the largest U.S. college sport camp organizer in Asia, and we've been doing this for 7 years now, and it's been one of the most successful to place many student athletes here in U.S. In terms of college and scholarship. Basically, we are operating and organizing in 7 different sports. Whether you are, tennis player, golfer, basketball player, or badminton, or volleyball. But today, we also privileged to have many of you from the swimming sports to join us for the webinar today. We've been hosting the webinar for the past 3 months by inviting many experts and coaches to give an input and also stay connected with you during the COVID time. Otherwise, this is the summer. It's a big activities for us in Asia. We normally have about 80 or 90 camps around 12 different countries and in 7 different sports. To not long overdue, today we have a privilege and a special guest, Coach Dr. Ned Skinner, one of the expertise and has been coaching at many D1 level, at the high level, and also USA national team coach. Today with us, and he will be able to provide us a more updated on the situation here in the U.S. and also regarding the pathway for the swimming in for college here in U.S. Dr. Ned, Coach Ned, has been involved with college scene for a long time, and he started out with William and Mary, and then 20 years at Virginia Tech, a big program, and now he is the coach at Hollins University. So good morning, Ned.
Good morning, George, and good morning to everybody out there, and hoping everybody is healthy and doing well. Been thinking about seeing everyone as I've tried to go abroad several times, and George, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you again, sir, to joining us this morning. And as you mentioned, we have been trying to get you to Asia for 2 years now. And every time the situation happened, and the latest one is COVID. Otherwise, you've probably been in seeing many parents in Thailand, in Singapore, and many places. But thanks again for willing to join us for the journey. And hopefully, when the travel safe again, that we will get you to Asia one day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And everyone who's out there listening and watching, it's just about 9 a.m. here in the East Coast of the United States. I'm in the mountains of Virginia. And George has been a tremendous person to work with. And you all are so fortunate to have his expertise to help guide through sport and potentially coming over to America and becoming a student athlete. So I have a few things I'd like to share with you today. And George, anything else before you'd like for me to say some remarks?
Yes, let me do housekeeping a little bit. And everyone who joined on the Zoom call, please mute your microphone during this webinar so that way everybody can hear Coach Ned clearly. And also anyone who joined us on the live Facebook, we actually live on Facebook on 18 different Facebook that we have. So if you have any question, anything you'd like Coach Ned to address during the webinar, please go ahead and type in your question in the message or in the chat room for a webinar on the Zoom today. But besides that, it's all good. And thanks again for joining us this morning. And we all want to learn from you, Ned.
Thank you. Well, First of all, it is truly a pleasure being here and visiting with you in these very unique and difficult circumstances that we all face. Um, as you may know, in America right now, in the United States, it's really bad still, and we've been challenged by it. COVID, I know all of you have as well, and it's certainly affected our sport of swimming and our training. And you know, that doesn't mean though that we have to fail. That doesn't mean that we cannot go on and achieve our goals. And that's my real message to you, is that as we know, through time, life happens. And sometimes unexpected events occur. And it's up to us to work around them and try to continue to keep positive and do our very best. And at the end of the day, things can work out, and again, as I've talked with George about what's going on abroad and all the wonderful people overseas and in Asia and east of us, I just want you to know that there's so much opportunity for you through swimming. And possibly if your goals are to come over to the United States and go to college, I know so many examples of swimmers that have ended up coming and getting an education in swimming and earning scholarship money to swim in the United States. As George mentioned, I've had many stops along the way. Central Connecticut State University, the College of William and Mary, and then of course when I was at Virginia Tech for 20 years, we had a lot of scholarship money that becomes available. And really, as you think about what it is that your goals are, and it doesn't have to be to swim in the United States, but it certainly can be, and that can become a reality. But did you know that many schools outside of big Division I schools, super large schools, we'll say, also have money? So for example, right now I'm at Hollins University, which only has about 1,000 students, okay? But on the other hand, they have a lot of grant money. They like to recruit internationally. And, a school that may be $50,000 ends up being well under $15,000 American, as an example. So, there's so many different ways that you can get access to funds and money. And I've talked with George about this quite a bit. So, my thing to you is, if you really want to achieve something, you can do it. You just got to work. You got to look into it. And, it's doable. You can always reach me through George, and I'm very happy to help. If it's okay, I would like to share some information with you that I've created. And George, is that all right if I try to share this screen and put that up? Is that okay? Can everybody see that okay? All right. So a few things that I want to say to you. I talked about, my career, and I swam in college. I got to swim at a school called Louisiana State University, and it was a tremendous experience. I sure do hope I can come over and share my knowledge with you. In Asia, I believe that we would have a lot of fun together, and there's so many things that we can learn, and I can learn from you. I do think a topic, swimming fast in the era of COVID, like I mentioned, over here in America, things are so disrupted right now, and there really is very little opportunity to have consistent training. It's very difficult to stay focused right now. And, there's only 1 or 2 swimmers per lane. You're trying to be creative to make it work. All right. But on the other hand, it is what it is, and we just have to try to stay positive and make it work. Do you see this line right here where I say, take each day and win each day? I think that's so important, because you've got today, or you had today, and you look back on it and say, did I win that day? Did I let negativity get in my way, or did I just say, I feel sorry for myself? Or did you take the opportunities that you have today and put forward your very best effort? And I believe if you can leave each day as a swimmer or whatever you do and say, you know what, I made the very most of it, that's a win. All right. What do we do? Well, the way we win each day is by keeping positive, and always doing your best each day. Something that I've been doing, and maybe you do it as well, is write down and post your goals. I have quarterly goals that I have on my wall, and quarterly goals are every 3 months. Okay, so for example, if you look back on how you've been doing in April, May, and June, those were very disrupted months because of COVID, and maybe you weren't in the pool, but there is something you can always do, whether it's push-ups or sit-ups or take a run or go for a walk or do agility training in your garage or in your basement or at home in your living room. There's always something that you can do to keep it going. And a lot of that is by controlling your mind, and it's the thoughts that you have that can either help you win each day or lose each day. And one thing that I say, whenever you're on the road, you ever see like a stop sign, big and red with white letters that say stop, and if you start to find that you're going negative or having bad thoughts, try to see a big stop sign in your mind to channel and go more towards a positive thought. Negative thoughts or bad thoughts really get you nowhere, so keep that in mind and try to keep those thoughts positive, and as you think about your training in your current situation, it might be very different than your normal training. And I understand that, but all we can do is go with what we have. What is your current situation? What are the limitations that you have? Is there anything that you can do right now to improve your current situation? And I realize some of you might even have some swim meets coming up. Maybe there's an opportunity for you to swim and race and compete. And that's very exciting, and just enjoy it. Maybe you won't go best times, but just understand that is okay. Another thing though that might factor into that is, how are you doing outside of the pool? All the things that you decide to do each day adds up, and if you are getting stronger right now, that's a great thing. Whether it's by doing pull-ups or push-ups or sit-ups, or hopefully you're doing things on dry land with your coach or on Zoom or whatever. But remember this formula: strength equals power, which equals speed. Okay, so the stronger that you can become outside of the pool, the more powerful you're going to be, or the better you're going to feel. And that means you're going to swim faster. You're going to have more speed. And that's very important. Here are something I'd like to share with you. Key ingredients to your training. Here are the things that are so important to your swimming. Okay. Pool training and the ability to go every day or as often as you can to the pool and follow your coach and do the things that you're asked to do. That's such a key ingredient to us. The dry land part I mentioned, what you're doing out of the water. We know what you do in the water is so important, but also weights, and mobility and stretching. And that's such an important part. Are you really working on being more flexible? And most people do not spend enough time working on their stretching. And I really encourage you to stretch every day. If you're focused on before you train, whether it's in the pool or the dry land, to limber up or to get warmed up and really get those muscles going, that's very important. And you can do that by a stretching routine. All right. And your coach should be able to help you through that. You should also be stretching after practice. All right. You don't want to just train and then let that body sit there. You know, you want to try to cool down, and using stretching is very important. How are you doing with your nutrition and your hydration is so important to your swimming. Are you eating the right foods? Are you consistent with your goals on your body composition? We all know that you are what you eat. So if you're eating the right foods, that's going to give you proper energy, and you're going to be able to practice better and compete better. Hydration, of course, is, are you drinking enough water? Water is the foundation of our life, and you should be drinking upwards to 24 ounces during a 2-hour swim practice. You should also be putting more fluids into your body. I don't know if you drink, say, Gatorade or Powerade, but any electrolytes or things that can help you recover is so important, okay? Sleep and body care. You know, maybe you have an injury with your shoulder or maybe your knees, all right? And you have to make sure you stay on top of that, whether you are using ice or proper ibuprofen, and are you getting 8 hours of sleep every night? But those are key ingredients to what you're doing. And the personal choices that you make. We all make decisions. Some decisions are better than others, but you have to know that when you decide to do something that might be against the flow of what's best for you, you know there are consequences. So really understand that we all make decisions. That's okay. We're humans. We're going to make mistakes, and just do your best to work through it. What do you think of this quote? What works is work. There's no magic formula, swimmers and parents. Whether you're trying to find a school in America or trying to get faster in swimming or become the best you can be, you gotta work. All right, that'll stand the test of time. You know, you can't just take a pill and be fast. So keep that in mind. I love this saying right now. The 5 P's, think about it. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. The 5 P's are really a big part of what we do in our sport of swimming. And you think about aerobic conditioning, all right? And that is to get work in the pool, you know, and go longer sets. Aerobic meaning to build your cardiovascular capacity. And in the early part of the season, we're trying to build our aerobic conditioning, and that really helps. I'll tell you, another very important part of what you're working on is your stroke development, okay? You can train all you want, but you need to have good mechanics, and I like to call it distance per stroke. Are you catching the water all the way out at the front of your stroke? Are you maximizing each stroke and getting the most out of your pull and your recovery and keeping that stroke development? A lot of people like to use stroke drills and efficiency models, and I encourage you to continue to work. These go hand in hand. So aerobic conditioning and stroke development. And here's a question I have for you. All right, how are you doing with kicking? Okay, because if you are not becoming a better kicker, your body position is not going to be as high. Too many swimmers do not use their kick, all right? And we should be doing more kicking every day. And that's such an important part of it in every phase. Also, your mind. And I talk about a positive mindset. And I just want you to know that the power of the mind is so important in what we do. You know, if you can think each day you have an opportunity to get better, that really makes a big, big difference. So I encourage you to really have a positive mindset and know that each day matters. Okay, so here's the question. Okay, I've done all that, Ned. How do I swim fast? What do I do to swim fast and achieve my goals? Well, confidence in yourself and believing in yourself that you're going to improve and get better. You have to have faith in yourself that the speed and becoming fast happens at the end of your season. You can't be fast every meet because swimming fast is a process, okay? And it comes with rest. And so what we do is we work towards big meets. All right, do you remember that formula I showed you earlier? Strength equals power equals speed. That is a process, okay? And swimming fast, okay, comes at the very end of the season, okay, with rest. So you build throughout the year, and then as you get rest towards the end of the season, that's when we swim fast. We always want to stay smart and work on these details, okay? What are details? Working on your starts, on your turns, on your streamlines, and you can always work on that. You can stay after practice for 5 minutes and do 3 great starts, okay, with good streamlines and good breakouts. The people who put in that little bit of extra training are the ones getting better, all right? And here's something that I really believe in. Are you putting yourself out there, okay, in a competition? Of course, you want to swim your plan and execute your plan, but ultimately the best swimmers race and put themselves out. They love competing. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, all right? But putting yourself out there and racing is so important to swimming fast. Visualization, I really believe in. I believe in the power of the mind, and see yourself succeed in your mind and work on when you're maybe before you go to bed. See yourself finishing a race strong with a powerful kick and winning, and or looking up at the scoreboard and seeing that time that you wanted to achieve. But visualization is so important. The other thing, I think you got to have a strategy. Okay, how do you want to swim that 100 freestyle, or how do you want to swim that 200 IM? And you want to practice that in practice, okay, and really develop a strong relationship with your coach. Your coach can make all the difference in your swimming, okay? But you have to remember, coaches can't read your mind, okay? And some days you might feel good and some days you don't feel good, all right? But learn your coach, understand what it is that your coach's strengths are, and use them. And all coaches have weaknesses too. We are human, so we're going to make mistakes, okay? So go easy on them and forgive them. And communication is so important. And I really encourage you to keep up with that. All right, this is something that I want to make sure you understand too, that's very important for me. Enjoy the process. Again, you can't go a best time every swim. It just doesn't happen. You just got to be proud to be a swimmer. You got to love the fact that it's part of who you are. It's part of your chemistry, and love it. All right. The other part I want to share with you is be a good teammate. Good teammates become better swimmers. All right. If you're selfish and you only think about yourself, you're not going to achieve as much because you're not going to be happy. Being happy for others and having fun with your friends at practice, I think, is such a valuable part of who we are. And it's why swimmers tend to be great students. They tend to go on to great things after swimming because we learn to work well. We learn to be leaders, and being a good teammate and caring about others, I think, is so important. I did want to share with you how I talked about swimming fast as a process. right? And when you want to enjoy the process, you need to realize there's 4 phases in a season. The beginning part of the season, you're working on your aerobic conditioning or your base, okay, and strength and good stroke. All right, I call that conditioning. All right, you're getting fit. All right, and you're using different methods. Maybe you're running, you're swimming longer, and keeping those strokes together. All right, the middle part of the season, you're building more speed. You're really keeping up with your stroke and your feel, and you're trying to do enough yardage and meterage to maintain endurance. Okay. As you get further on, you get a little closer, like say 6 weeks to 2 months away from your championships. That's when you start working more on fine tuning. All right, your speed, your race strategy, your pacing, and a lot of details to include starts and turns. Okay, and then here's something else I wanted to share with you. Champions carry many of these qualities: work ethic. Every practice, weight session, dry land, you name it, is important. Talent. We all have talent. Some have more than others, but maximizing what you do have. Desire. All right. Many people hate losing more than they like winning. All right. And just saying, you know what, that is my goal and I'm going to go achieve it. I mentioned mindset, but confidence comes from knowing you are prepared for the moment. Remember, proper preparation prevents poor performance, okay? And what does that mean? You keep working hard and you're going to build confidence, right? And understand why you swim. Everyone has different reasons for swimming, whether it's your parents or you don't know why to swim, you just do it, or to be with your friends. But as soon as you identify why you love swimming, you're going to have more and more fun with it. And ultimately, why do you swim? Here's your answer: to have fun. If you're not having fun with swimming, then you're not becoming the best you can be, because at the end of the day, a happy swimmer is a fast swimmer. And I wish you all the very best, and I hope everybody has a lot of fun. And George, I turn it back over to you if there's any questions or anything I can add to this conversation.
Well, thank you, Coach. I think it's go back to the title of, not the title, the subject of the discussion today: swim fast. And it's a lot more into it rather than just swim fast. You know, it's easy to say, as you mentioned, you know, strength, you know, discipline, teamwork, enjoy, you know, all the stuff. That really very useful, and I hope that the audience that listening on the webinar and also the Facebook live today, they will, you know, learn about your advice. Thanks again, Coach. And if you don't mind, if you can talk about, because with your experience, you've been through what, maybe 30 years of the coaching experience and a background. What is it? What's the difference between Michael Phelps and just the regular person who go to compete in Olympic? What's the difference, in your opinion?
I feel that's a great question, George. I mean, you know, clearly he went on to great, incredible things, but I believe he ultimately has an incredible gift, you know, of swimming and feel for the water. He was very tall and lanky. He had long arms, and he was just a unique specimen. But I do feel he, early on in his life, measured up with a new coach, Bob Bowman, you know, and he and Bob Bowman, his coach, developed a fantastic relationship. And I believe Michael was only 10 or 11 years old when they got together and started working. And he ended up having full trust in his coach, 100%. And I really encourage you, and I talked about it a little bit earlier, to get to know your coach and believe in your coach And if you have questions, or maybe there's things about your coach you don't like, okay, but if you can communicate with your coach and say, hey, do you think maybe we could do a little bit more butterfly drills? Or do you think maybe I could, instead of doing this, do that because it hurts my knee? Or I feel, George, that Bob Bowman, Michael Phelps' coach, understood Michael, and they together worked it out. And you see a lot of Olympians out there. There's always a group of people behind them, great parents, great coaches who have their best interest at mind. So Michael became great because so many people helped him along the way.
It's good. That would be, I mean, that's perfectly put in. And I can share this with you that I did not ask this question just out of the blue. I asked the same about Tiger Woods. I asked the same about Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, because we've been through with many sport. So we try to find the combinator of between among the crazes. And one of the things you just mentioned, it's a system. It's a lot of people that you surround yourself with that will help you become, being the greatest out of you. Thank you again. If you have any comments or sharing advice, especially this new normal coming out about the swimming meet and how you see things going here in the U.S., are you going to have the season?
Well, George, it's
all right, but I have to ask that question.
Yeah, and I imagine for all of us, it's so scary and so uncertain because we love swimming, we love golf or every sport out there. You want to do it. You want to be a part of it. You want to go and be on the team. And it's really uncertain, For example, large colleges here in America, they've already said that they're either not going to have a fall of their sport, or they are only going to do some competitions, and they're not going to let fans or parents come in. And that's very difficult because it's something we want to do. And if you want to do something and you love to do something, and then you think maybe you aren't able to do it, it really is hard to come through. And you just got to remember that we all go through this together, and I've been telling my swimmers, George, I care about you, and I'm going to do my very best to help you and be there with you. And if it doesn't turn out the way we wanted, we're going to go through it together. And that's my advice to all of you. We don't know exactly what it's going to be, and the fear of the unknown is the hardest part, but chances are at some point we're going to be back on normal, and it's going to be okay, so try to keep positive, and whatever season we have, we're going to make the very most of it.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you. One last question before we let everyone go is that you've been through this about almost 30 years regarding to the recruiting. Okay, so recruiting for a new student athlete to your team. When did you start to follow them or notice them, or when they should be in the college recruiting process? In terms of your eye, when are you looking at 14 years old, 15 years old, 16 years old, or when exactly the good age?
Well, I think it's never too early to start thinking about college. So, for example, my wife and I have a 15-year-old golfer, and she also swims, but she's going to be a rising sophomore, and we're really thinking about colleges now. And so, George, I think 14, 15, 16, I think that's when you're really starting to think, where might we want to go to school, and in our case, or in your case, if you're thinking about swimming over in the United States, I think, you know, the earlier you can start considering it, the better. Okay, there's recruiting services that might be able to help you. Of course, George is a tremendous resource. I also think reaching out directly to some of these colleges, you know, do you keep up with websites in America like SwimSwam? There's swimmingworld.com that's got good information as well. Collegeswimming.com has very good information about colleges and possibly swimming in the state. I think going on websites of schools that you might be interested, we'll say, you know, Virginia Tech, for example, where I was, you know, that you can go and learn more about that college and their swim team and their facilities. And then you can write the head coach and say, hey, you know, I'm interested in your school and I'm going to keep checking in. And there's an old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, you know, and just because you reach out to a college and you don't hear right back from them doesn't mean they're not interested. You know, you can't get too offended or mad if you don't hear back from the coach. Just keep reaching out and reach out to a lot of schools, and sooner or later there's going to be interest. And just know that your swimmer is going to have opportunity in America.
Great. Good. All right. Well, one last question now for sure is that your team, the swimming and diving team, men's and women, normally around 40, 50, you know, swimmer in the team. And how would you select what particular swimmer going to each year? Are you looking for different style that fit into the whole team, or what are you looking for?
That's a great question. And you know, many swimmers are specializing more and more. So if you really feel like you're becoming a great breaststroker, you know, you want to work on that stroke, you know, and develop your 50 breaststroke, your 100 breaststroke, and your 200 breaststroke. Or if you're becoming a distance swimmer, you want to become, you know, as good as you can be in the 1500 or the 800 or 400 or an IMer. So trying to specialize as you are younger, I think is going to help, because what we look for at the college level as seniors graduate, you know, you're going after very specific events, you know, because that's how you can help in a dual meet or at the championships. So I do think specializing your strengths, whether you're 10 years old or 12 years old or 14, really can make a big difference, because that's what we're looking for, are specific areas of need as kids graduate and go on to the next thing.
Okay, good. Thank you again. Okay, so you know, with that, well, thanks again, Coach Ned, and hopefully we see you in Asia. I would try to say let's aim the end of the year, but you know, whatever we say for you to travel to Asia again, we'd love to have you with us and meet with the audience and the people in the swimming world in Asia. Thanks again. And for everyone who joined on the call today on the Zoom and also the Facebook Live, we want to thank you again, and stay safe, stay social distancing. The number will come down and we can get through this together, like Coach Ned said, right? And our next webinar will be next Monday. Coach Vindo for Tennis Academy, he will share his thought and the process of how you can get improving in terms of tennis, and so also the college pathway. Thank you again, everybody, and stay safe. Enjoy.
Thank you.